Beautiful. Episode 100 of From Everyone. Episode 100. We did it. I finally made it to the milestone here. This is 100
wow,
on the dot
honored.
here.
I'm honored.
You are here. Yes, I appreciate you coming through. This is Brian Lindberg, guitarist in Roselane. Thank you for making the trip out here. Yeah, 100 was always like the milestone. Like I told myself I was going to get to 100 episodes and then figure out if I wanted to keep going. We're going to keep going.
Nice.
But it was, yeah, I didn't appreciate when I started. I always got this advice that like every podcast starts at episode 100 because it just takes that long to find your voice and get comfortable in this thing. And like, I prefer being behind the camera so much more. Like this was not comfortable to me. The only way that this works for me is I have to just be like, I'm here with my friend. All this bullshit, all these lights, all this camera is fake. It's not real. It's not here. I'm just in the moment. And it's taken me 100 episodes to get comfortable in that. And I remember hearing that advice at first and be like, I'll do it in 10 episodes. And as it's gone on, it's like, nope. Yeah, it turns out they were very right that episode 80 was very different than episode 20.
It's a commitment, man. It's and you're just growing, you know, getting better every single time. So
That's
100 is a milestone, man. Good for you.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Yeah, that's always the goal. And I think that is something I will give myself credit for. And I think I'm very tough on myself and hard to give myself credit. I am stubborn. And that has a lot of bad qualities to it as well. And like, in moments it can be a detriment to me, but in the context of something like this, in the context of my camera, that's been, I think, my biggest asset is like, I'm going to show up, I'm going to keep doing it. And it may not go great. It may go awesome. I don't know. I don't really care. I'm going to just keep finding out. And I think when I talk to people like you, and I talk to musicians, it's like, I enjoy that is a common thread to all of us, where it seems like this whole industry that we're in, this whole like metal community is like, it's not designed for success. Like it's not a thing that like you and your parents and your friends are all like, fuck yeah, he's doing it. It's not graduated from Harvard, right? It's this thing of like, it's almost taboo, it's almost a mark of shame that then to me is like, all of us then have this thing of like, fuck you, watch. I'm gonna figure this out.
You can't be afraid to make mistakes. Otherwise, there's no room for growth. It's like no one's perfect out of the gate.
It is the only way to do it. Before we dive into everything here, I'll grab my little cheat sheet here for the upcoming Roselane shows. So Roselane's newest single, The Hate You Speak, is streaming and music videos out everywhere now. Go watch that. I guess it's been out for a couple months now, but it's awesome. It still is as awesome as it was when it came out. So if you haven't seen it yet, please go consume it. Show's coming up here at City Sound Studios in, I'm going to get this so wrong, Ronkonkoma, New York. I assume it's like upstate New York, Albany area. I have no idea.
I've actually never been there either, and I don't even know how I would have said it. So you did great.
Beautiful. It's too many letters. I'm gonna run with it. That's on August 22nd. Ralph's Rock Diner in Worcester, Massachusetts, September 5th, and the New England Metal and Hardcore Fest pre-party Palladium, September 19th. Yep. That's the big one.
Very excited for that one.
That feels like an enormous show to be a part of.
That was a cool surprise to see that in the email, especially with Stick to Your Guns on it. Growing up, listening to them with Anthony and everything, like huge throwback. So
were they one of like your number ones? Was that one of your like North Star kind of bands?
Not necessarily, but they were always like the hard hitter. Like whenever they came on, you'd be like, we're not changing this song, like you know. So
100%, yeah. And especially like growing up before the show, we were talking about how you lived 2 minutes from the Palladium. Have you spent your whole life like that close to the Palladium? Has life always been in Worcester for you?
I grew up in Worcester for the most part. I lived in Spencer for like a couple of years, but for the most part, I lived in Worcester, so I know those streets really well. But living 2 minutes from the Palladium is really nice.
That's beautiful. It must make it even cooler to get invited to go play there. Like there must have been a 10-year-old version of you that was just always dreaming of like, that is the Mecca. I have to make it on that stage there. Yeah. And now you're here. Now you're there with Stick to Your Guns.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. We're very excited about that. But yeah, we played there a bunch over the past like 2 years. You know, it's just we have a good relationship with them, so it's great to be back there again, especially with Stick to Your Guns and Cruel Hand and Fox Lake just got added. So absolutely, yes, it's a good venue, good staff. I know there's a venue around here that I'll leave anonymous. Sorry, there's something all over the table that I have to keep leaning off here. That's okay.
I just added more vines here, so it's all like the green shit from that leftover. Not that that's relevant to anyone, but
I feel like you use a little more. You know,
we got
vines are
more.
sick.
We'll keep them growing. But anyway, there's a venue around here that I will leave nameless, but everyone knows exactly what I'm talking about if you're from Connecticut. That is going through some changes that has made it much less desirable and much less appealing to go be at because everything there has just radically changed from the beloved venue we had. Okay. And the Palladium seems like it has stayed true to itself, where it just seems like it is good people. It has always been good people. Yep. And the most welcoming place to go to. Do you remember how old you were like when you first got on that stage? I assume, that as a Worcester kid, this would have always been like I need to get there. And then at some point there would have been a first time there.
Yeah.
When was that?
That was in my first band. Actually, Anthony was in the band with me, and I think we were 14 at the time. We might have been 15.
Okay.
But 14 or 15. So we were really young. Like you look back at the pictures, it's like, oh my God, dude. Like my shirt's way too big. Like I'm wearing like Dickies that are way too big. Like with Chuck Taylor, so it looks like my feet are like this big. It's comical, but no, it's really cool to, you know, all these years it really hasn't changed. Just like the quality of like the gear and stuff. But like it's still the same. It's
still the same. I love the two-story aspect of it. I think is the other thing that like makes it feel huge. Or like my favorite venue is the House of Blues in Boston, which just has that like that verticality that makes it feel so like insulated and tight that I love. And I think, the Playroom Upstairs is like a nice little dose of that. Of course, a smaller version of it, but just a beautiful one. And I can't imagine growing up there and going to all the shows. And I assume you've been going to the shows since before you could remember that. But getting on stage as a freshman in high school, if my math is right, or somewhere around there, would have been.
I think we were juniors. I think in high school,
somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Hell yes. And with Anthony as well. So has Anthony always been like your partner in crime? Is this like a long running relationship?
Yeah. So we were in that band from like 04 to 06. And so I've been in bands since then. That was the last band we've been in together. So now we've kind of like gone full circle and we're back doing it again. Yeah.
Beautiful. Cool. I like to know where this journey starts for. So it's not like this was like partway through the journey. Do you remember like the first, like, I guess going even further back, like was music in the household growing up? Like was dad listening to Metallica? Like what is going on in the household that makes this, getting into Roseland, getting into heavy music as an adult now makes sense? So
it's funny. No one in my family is really into music. No one even really plays instruments. Like my mom had an acoustic. She actually ended up giving it to me because she never really played it.
That's funny.
But my family wasn't really into music. I actually got into playing bass because a friend from middle school was like, hey, buy a bass, let's start a band, like the typical like way to start a band. So I bought the bass, maybe learned like 3 Blink-182 songs and like didn't play it for another like year and a half.
I am diving into my music here that's probably not relevant, but once in a while I found a pearl here. Buying the bass is a fun story. Like, was this like Christmas money that you had saved up? Is this like a lemonade stand that you run? Like, what is the process? Like, is buying the bass from a pawn shop? Like, what does buying the bass mean?
I literally bought it at not Guitar Center, sorry, Union Music in Worcester. So like it's been around forever. But I went there with like $300 and I went and bought it. It's not even like a full scale bass. It was like a little version. Like it was tiny.
Yep.
And I wasn't a big guy. Like, but it was definitely not a very nice bass. Like it didn't last long. I ended up buying like a silver tone, which wasn't much nicer, but gradually just got nicer and nicer as the years went on.
100%.
Yeah.
It's fun to finally have adult money and be able to do adult things with the instruments you choose.
Buy all kinds of stuff you don't need.
That was middle school. In like elementary school, I was forced to like pick an instrument, like play in the orchestra for a little bit. Were you playing any instruments for this? Was it like this is your first trip into music?
I played saxophone for like a year in elementary school, but I learned Mary Had a Little Lamb and that was it.
Okay.
I was like, Mom, we live in an apartment. Why'd you buy me this thing? It's so loud. Like I can't play it anywhere. You stuff socks in it when I'm not around. Do you want me to play it or not? Like, I was doing it more for her, not for myself. Like, it's pretty funny, but
so that got you through a year, and then you're done. Middle school, you're like, I'm done with music. Music's done. What were you listening to at this point? Like, did you have someone who got you into music? Do you have any sense of how you got in? Like, I assume if you got the bass, you were already like musically inclined in some capacity. You wanted to be involved in this. I guess what were you listening to, and then how did you get into that? Was there someone, peer pressuring you into it? Was there an older cousin or something that was the cool guy?
So my mom never really listened to like the kind of music I listen to. She listens to like all the mainstream, whatever's on the radio that's going on. I made a friend when I moved on the other side of Worcester. He listened to like Rancid and like NoFX, and like that's when I started getting into like punk. And it's funny, I actually found a Suicide Machines CD in my mom's CD player. I was like, Mom, like this is yours, is it? And she's like, no, I think that's your aunt's. And I was like, this is sick. And they ended up being my favorite band for like a few years because it's like the ska like punk sound was really cool, and that got me into like all the pop punk and like more of like the punk side of things. So.
Did you know your aunt was that cool? Was that your first time?
No,
Damn.
That's when I realized. I was like, yeah, she's all right. She's cool. I ask her a little bit more about music. So I didn't even know she was in that kind of stuff. So it was really cool to learn that.
Hell yeah. And then that stuck for a while, and it sounds like, that becomes then your entry into bass here is you've got this obsession that you're kind of gathering on your own, listening to your iPod on your own time kind of thing. What is the first band joining? Like, so this, you mentioned a friend kind of like, yo, join my band. Is it just playing in the basement with him? Like, how serious does this band get?
So we never even jammed together. He just asked me that and went to buy the bass, and I learned
a
few songs.
School.
Yeah, never even got together.
Middle school thing.
And a few years later, another guitarist, Jeremy, he asked me if I still play bass, and I was like, yeah, of course. Like, and I only played it like 3 or 4 times, like learned those 3 songs from Blink, and I was like, yeah, of course. Like this little PV amp, like this big, like a 110, and I showed up to our drummer Derek's house at the time. I had just met him, and I didn't even know the kid. And I'm like this shy little kid. I'm like 14. And he's kind of jockey. Like he's not like come in, bro. What's going on? Dude, he's kind of like, hey. I'm like, when are you guys gonna get here? Like, please hurry up.
Save me from this bad experience, please. Someone spare me. Yeah.
So we met up in the basement and we played "What Is the Burn" by Finch.
Hell yes.
And we crushed it. Like it sounded great.
At this point, are you learning like by ear? You're learning like YouTube University, I guess is the classic term that's come up on this show way more than I ever would have expected it to. Or that's how I learned everything I know about the camera is like just going on YouTube and being like, what is this setting? How do I do this? And then going to the Reddit forum to read through all the people talking about the setting and like combining this. Yeah. Are you like fully self-taught? Is there any lessons involved here? How are you learning bass?
So like back then, YouTube wasn't even a thing yet. So like I was pretty much self-taught. Like when I first started, I could only upstroke, which is like the opposite of what you would think. Like it was very strange. They used to hate on me so much. Then I was like, all right, I just got to get this down. And then I eventually learned the downstroke. I was like, I got it.
That's such a beautiful, like naive young moment of like, as I look back, like learning camera stuff, like I almost lament now I'm at a place where like YouTube almost can't help me anymore. Like I've gone so far into this road that like the surface level material is not helpful for me anymore. It's very rare. And like now it's more forums where I'll find people talking about more niche stuff. And like that moment of only being able to uppick on bass, such a beautiful childhood moment of like, I'm sure Brian today is like, dude, I wish my problems were as simple as learning how to fucking downpick.
I know. I mean, the beauty behind that is like there was no like video cameras around because like, so it's not going to be on the internet like, dude, this kid's only upstroking. What a weirdo. Like, so no one actually ever got to see that. I didn't even have to say that. But I was like, whatever.
That's
definitely embarrassing, but at least I was young. I mean, if I said it now, it'd be a little different.
There is like a part of my brain also that almost like, I wouldn't have a job right now if it wasn't for YouTube. I think the only way the camera makes sense to me, the only way that I think this thing becomes accessible is through YouTube and like seeing other local bands or like I always tell the story of like I didn't know a camera was possible, right? Like I didn't know local bands existed. To me, it's like you're either Metallica or you're not a band. Or Good Charlotte to me was like the North Star at the time, and I didn't know like local bands existed. And then I met a friend who was in local bands, and then seeing their videos on YouTube was like, oh, there is a thing here that I can be a part of that is like accessible to me. I don't have to be in Good Charlotte to be in music. There is some like middle ground here. The flip side here is like, and I guess my other tangent here is like in the game of golf, and this is a wild tangent here. I've gotten into golf this last summer or so, and like golf in like the 1960s, 70s, and 80s is like a wild game to watch because everyone's completely self-taught. There's no actual good way to do stuff. So there's all these crazy swings and people holding the club crazy and bent over crazy and all these crazy postures, and it's just like it's fucked up to watch because everyone's doing this like whatever their secret sauce is. And of course now golf has become like a one size fits all, and I guess the nitty gritty would still argue like the pros have unique swings, but to me it's like any other professional sport where like there is a pretty defined set way of like no, this is how you throw a football, this is how you hit a golf ball. Like all these things are very defined, and like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning may throw the ball a little differently, but 99% of their mechanics are identical. To me, there's like this like almost downside of YouTube here of like there's a version of you that learned how to upstroke and just kept down that road. And what does that version of Brian look like is a fascinating thing to me. And like it may not be the most polished or the best version, but it's kind of a fun thought experiment to me of like we're almost robbing ourselves of the uniqueness that can happen from natural discovery. And there's something precious and like beautiful about only being able to uppick. And it's like this isn't how this turns out. This isn't the best way. But it is your way, and that's worth something. And how does that progress over time if YouTube doesn't get involved here is a fascinating question to me.
It's just like, I didn't really learn how to downstroke, which just seems ridiculous to say, but like until I started playing with other people and I'm like, oh, I'm doing it wrong. You know what I mean? Like, like I said, none of my family really plays instruments. So like I had just no videos to go off of. I'm just listening to songs, like printing out tabs from MX tabs and like just kind of trying to figure out my own way until I learned, like started jamming with other people. Like I luckily was jamming with Jeremy, who was extremely talented for our young age, which I learned a lot from, which was good to be around because, if we're all upstroking together, we're just going to keep upstroking for years. It's going to be just the most awkward thing when we finally play a show and get looked at.
100%, and have fun playing, as the tempos get faster to now where it's like, I guess for like ska, that might be doable. But now as the thing of Roseland, like, as these things get faster, like have fun only picking in one direction, whichever direction it is.
Try palm muting, just stroking up. Like.
There is, again, my brain immediately is like, we'll never know the answer, and probably the answer is not flattering. Probably the answer to this question is not that appealing. But it is interesting to me of like, what if? Like, what is my... I don't watch a lot of movies. Like, I don't watch a ton. And so I think there is like a uniqueness what I can make with a camera because I just don't consume that much other stuff. And like, this to me is also a downside of like, I think I should watch more movies because the Michael Jordan of cameras is not in my world. They're in Hollywood right now. They're making... Gladiator, and it's like I've never seen either Gladiator movie, the new one or the old one. That to me is a fascinating thing of like with the instruments. It's like what happens if you just put Brian in an echo chamber here and just let Brian become whatever he thinks sounds good on bass. Like what do we end up with in this product here? And there is a fun balance.
They say isolation breeds originality, but like
100%. And originality can be shit.
But you can also like learn a different tactic and just be original way better. You know what I mean? So
yes. Yeah, and I think probably being original and the way that you pick the guitar is not where you want to be original. It's like you want to be original down the road, and there's some basic foundation here of like, no, it's probably a good thing that you learned how to pick both ways. And that
just speeding up the process, you know,
100%.
like not changing the original aspect of it.
100%, yes. So you get your bass, your first friend goes, so you get the bass, never jam with him, and then you join this other band. What's the name of that band that you end up joining here?
It was Forgotten Screams.
Okay, beautiful.
Very post-hardcore emo, like...
That is one of the ones on my list here. Okay, awesome. And then is this like you start jamming with them and now are you obsessed with bass? Is bass on the back burner for you? Like what is like, are you immediately addicted or still kind of like, I do that with them, but I'm still doing whatever on my own time?
So it's funny, like all I did was play bass back then. That was it. And I skateboarded on the side. But I up until Rose Lane, I played bass for all the bands I was in.
Interesting.
So this is the first band I played guitar in.
Interesting. What motivated that switch?
Anthony and our other guitarist, Aaron at the time, was like, you want to try out? We need a guitarist. And I was like, I don't have any gear, dude. Like, and you want me to play a 7-string? Like, I've played a 7-string maybe one time in my life. And I tried it out with one of his other guitars and it went really well. I ended up buying all the gear over the course of like a month or two and the rest is history.
Interesting. I feel like most people go the other way of they learn on guitar and then end up getting a bass. So, and I feel like usually what I've seemed to have gathered here is that like bassists are like a very niche breed of guitarists where most people like play bass and be like, I want to play guitar. But I feel like when people start on bass, they tend to go like, this is home for me.
Right.
But it's interesting. And I guess maybe this is because your friend said, hey, buy a bass and you didn't have any musical thing to go, no, I actually want to play guitar in this thing. Do you have any desire now to go back to playing bass? Or is you like, I'm a guitar player. I'm very happy in this role.
I'll always love playing bass. There's just something about it. Like right before my other band broke up, Circumstances, like, Rose Lane came at the perfect time because we weren't doing much. So the transition was perfect. I bought like a brand new bass and played one show with it. And it's still sitting in my bedroom, like waiting to be used. So I'm like, that's kind of wanting me to play a little more, but I would definitely go back to playing it if like the right opportunity came
Interesting.
around.
Yeah, I learned to play guitar a little bit, and then I got into playing bass because it was like I don't know, might as well learn. I've always been curious about expanding out. But yeah, I feel like going the other direction is an interesting variable here. So you start playing. You're in this band here. Immediately, bass becomes your thing. You become obsessed with this band. And this was Forgotten Screams, you said. How serious does this band get? Is this like, so this is mostly like middle school, high school we're talking about here?
This was in high school, yeah.
Okay. Are you playing shows? Like you're playing in a basement? Like how far out of the basement do you guys get?
It's funny. We actually played like 2 shows a week and we're all in school. So like,
damn. I
got in trouble a lot at home because I would just not come home on a school night, like till super late. But I was actually talking to Anthony about this the other day. I was like, I don't remember booking any of these shows. Like, we were booking them on MySpace. I don't remember any of the conversations. Like, we were playing in like Connecticut, like Rhode Island. Like, how do we even get these shows? I have no idea. I don't even remember. You know what I mean? Just to be that young and like booking shows like that.
Interesting. Did he have any wisdom for you? Like, did he have any memory either?
No. We were like, dude, we don't even remember how we like got these shows. Like, it just happened.
It's so funny how those things happen as a kid, and you look back, and it's like that doesn't make any sense for me to have had that opportunity. But thank goodness, 16-year-old me could figure this out. Yeah,
like my mom was like, "You really like getting all these shows, and you're 15 years old. Like, that's so sick." Like, she drove us to a few of them, like my whole band. You know, she was like, they were all happy for us. It was really cool.
It's beautiful. They were so supportive of it. I think that's the other like challenge of our music scene, where it's like, again, if you had gotten into playing saxophone, to go back, if you had stuck with saxophone since 4th grade, like I think most parents buy into like, I'm going to take my kid to the saxophone show. Taking my kid to the metal show to me is like I'm gonna let you figure that one out yourself kind of thing. And so it's beautiful. Yeah, she was so supportive of that.
I think it's because like it was new to her too. Like that whole side of music is like it's just very intriguing. I'm sure it was like exciting for her too, seeing her son do something she's never even didn't even know existed. You know?
Yeah. Is it also like the first thing you attach onto? Where like my sense is now as my friends become parents, as our peers become parents, like wait, let me preface this, but like, do you have kids yourself?
I don't.
Okay, cool. Me neither. So what I see is like with our friends having kids, it's like they just want their kid to do something. They don't care if it's skateboarding, if it's saxophone, if it's metal, like just find something you love. It sounds like maybe bass here was like the first thing you love. And so mom is like, all hands on deck. We're going to water this plant till it grows. Is that about accurate here?
Yeah, skateboarding was the first thing I actually kind of latched on to.
Okay.
I think she liked the bass a little more because I wasn't coming home with bloody knees every day. So it's a little bit different than having to patch up your son every day after a long day of work, you know?
100%. I'm sure I told the story when Anthony was on here as well, because I feel like it comes up whenever skateboarding's on, and that's maybe the problem now of doing 100 episodes. It's like, I only have so many ideas. Like, my brain is not that big of a place for all this shit to exist. But there's an old Jerry Seinfeld quote, which feels like a crazy person to quote about skateboarding. But he describes how he would like see kids skating outside and be like, oh, they're going to be okay. Like, it is this ruthless trial and error process. And like, you're right, the knees get bloodied. And your job is then to step up, go to the top of the stairs one more time, and jump down the stairs one more time, knowing the knees are probably gonna get blooded again until this thing works.
Yep.
And it like really like shifted. Like I think I've always appreciated skateboarding as like an art that I'm not good at, but I think it's cool. And that was the first time of like, it was a fascinating shift of like, oh, this isn't like an outcast thing. This is like a mental fortitude that most people don't have.
Yep.
And it feels like as a child, like most parents would look down at skateboarding as like don't do that. That's what the bad kids do. Like don't be involved with that crew of kids. And as an adult now, it's like, I think that's the perfect thing for a kid to get involved in. It's like,
Absolutely.
just commit yourself to a trick. And this kickflip down the stairs has been done by 400 other people, but you need to figure it out yourself.
Yep.
And the only way to figure it out is by blooding your knees a couple times and fucking it up a couple times and hurting your ankle and going home and sleep, like being up all night because you can't sleep because you're so mad you didn't get the kickflip
Right.
just to go back next Saturday or whenever you're off school to go try this thing again. Does that kind of track with like your skateboarding to like feel like it was a good foundation for you to then build off of and like learn how to try stuff?
100%. I mean, I think like skateboarding is a lot of just wanting to succeed at something, like trying to learn a trick for weeks and then you finally get it is like probably one of the most exciting feelings in the world.
100%.
Especially, and then incorporating that over like a 6 set of stairs is like, you know, that's a memory that's going to last forever. You know what I mean?
Are
like,
there memories that last forever? Like as you say
yeah.
that, like is there a
Yeah.
staircase that still sticks? Like I
Oh
kickflip
yeah,
that one.
I'll never forget heel flipping Gates Lane 6 set like after school
Interesting.
one day, and I was like, we all went crazy. I was like, you know what I mean? And we all supported our friends that same way, like doing a varial kickflip over it or something. Like
That's the
just
other
support.
beautiful thing of skateboarding is I feel like always friends are good at like supporting their friends' goals. Where like I grew up playing soccer, and to me it's like you score 4 goals or you don't, and there was never like a thing of like, well, you tried really hard. And I feel like skateboarders are really good at being like, you didn't land the kickflip, but you fucking tried your heart
Right.
out. And there's like an interesting camaraderie there that I don't think exists in other sports. And again, I think skaters tend to get a negative connotation, negative rap about all they're doing. But it is, yeah, the more I look at it, the more I reflect on it, it's like, that's a beautiful community. And it's a really like positive, unique community that I'm sure like any community is ruined by a couple of bad apples who want to do graffiti and smoke weed more than they want to actually skate.
Yep.
But like, enjoy it. Yeah, it is a beautiful thing.
It's funny because like back then, like all your friends are like, haha, you busted your ass. Like, but it wasn't like that. It was like, oh, dude, you're gonna get next time. Like the support was crazy up until you weren't skateboarding. It's like, you suck. Like at this, but it was never about skateboarding. I was talking about skateboarding. It was always a super supportful scene. So
interesting.
Cool, yeah.
Were you like filming this at all? Were you like making edits? Like yeah, that was always the other piece of skateboarding that was fascinating to me as a kid. Is like my entrance into video editing was like editing like Call of Duty montages, which to me is like akin to the skateboarding thing of like just trying the trick shot over and over. And again, mine was a virtual trick shot, but it's kind of the same thing to me of like, getting a 360 in game and 360 in real life, or both 360s are kind of a similar principle here. Were you filming? Were you making like edits for the skate?
So like I got my first camcorder when I was like 14, like when I was in the prime of skateboarding, and like I couldn't edit because it was just on a VHS tape.
Yeah.
I didn't know how to edit that kind of stuff. I don't even know if it was possible at the time. I'm sure it was. I just don't have the gear for it. But like you do it now, it's like you just film it on your phone and edit it right on your phone. It's insane. Like we didn't have that kind of technology back then. But I mean, I definitely had videos of skateboarding. It was just like you got all the crap in between that you didn't want to watch. Or yeah.
I have vivid memories of filming my TV screen and then like editing that camera. It's like I had no idea how to like plug something into my Xbox so that I could film the actual feed.
Yeah.
It's like filming the TV screen will have to work because people need to see this 360 I can hit, and that'll have to do.
The hype of my day was like waking up in the morning early to record my favorite music videos on TV, and then like stopping at the perfect time so it just a clean cut to the next good one.
That's so
but
funny.
Like it doesn't get much better than that at that time, unfortunately.
That's the peak of editing at the time. Is pushing
Yeah.
the red button with like a second to spare because you know it's going to take a second for the thing to end, and like understanding the
give myself
latencies
enough
of
time
it.
to get more orange juice. You know, like,
Hell yes. Was this like a daily thing of waking up early to watch music videos? Like that seems like a very like personal and like unique memory to this.
that's when they played all the best videos. Like that's how I found out about Boxcar Racer. Like one of the best albums, personally to me, that I've found. You know, on Fuse TV at 6 o'clock in the morning before I go walk to the bus stop. You know,
This is all like punk oriented and like ska oriented to me. Like when does it become metal? Where like to me Roseland is more in the metal side of things than they are like the punk ska side of things. When is like in some point in high school does this transition happen? Is this like later in life as you get into Roseland? Like when does this genre shift start to take place for you?
it was definitely like towards the end of high school.
Okay.
I actually ended up joining a band on vocals, like a metal band. It was just very like
What was
As
the
Lay
name of
Dying
them?
is Send the Medic.
Okay, I don't have them on my
Yeah,
list.
it was brief. We don't even have any recordings out there.
Okay.
Like we have some rough ones, but I did like a lot of really high streams and like just the really lows, kind of like Suicide Silence kind of esque.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean that's kind of when I got into that kind of stuff. Like It Dies Today, As Lay Dying. That like that was like just through friends. Like, you know, I mean, listen to this band.
Yeah.
Like, you know, what was that song? 94 Hours by Isley Dying was pretty much like
That was the one.
one of the big ones that
Yep.
like got everyone into that kind of music.
Yep.
So.
Hell yes. I believe at some point here, so I guess the 4 bands that I have listed here are Circumstances, Forgotten Screams, Onward, and Spider Fighter.
Yep.
I think it sounds like Forgotten Screams is one of the earlier ones. Is that correct?
That was the first one,
from
yeah.
the list there? Okay.
Yeah.
While we're on that neighborhood, I found a video on your YouTube of you guys playing a high school battle of bands competition here. What the fuck is going on? Like, I assume when they have a battle of the bands here, they're expecting like Blink-esque pop punk. Like that's about as far.
Yeah.
Watching that, I was like, no high school was ready for this. Was not what they expected with the
They
battle
really
of bands.
weren't.
Were you guys the only metal band here? Was anyone in the crowd like shocked? Were people happy? What is going on in this high school battle of the bands?
That
for
band, Sun the Medic, played that year as well.
Okay.
But we played before Forgotten Screams, and it's a lot heavier.
Yeah.
Like it's just I'm just brutally screaming the entire time, and it's
Okay.
just chugging. But compared to that, we weren't as heavy, but we brought way more energy than the other band did. Like, funny story, we actually got disqualified in 06 because, well, let me just say this: like the entire crowd's up at the front of the stage because he's seen the video, and Anthony's like, "Get the fuck up here!" And like we're swearing, and like a high school battle of the bands, all the teachers are like, "You can't do that, dude." Like, so we get disqualified. All these kids are already standing up front, and he's telling everyone to get up there. Like, I'm like, dude, they can't get any closer. Like, but we ended up getting disqualified. They even said like, you guys would have won, but you fucked up.
Interesting.
So.
At this point, is this like a I feel like for me, metal was almost like a dark secret that I held, and I think maybe this is because I was like more with the athletes, and like for them, like Drake was the cool thing. So Meelson
Mm-hmm.
Bringing the Horizon was very much Black Sheep energy. I feel like if I was on stage in high school at that, it would have been very much like a coming out party of like, this is who I actually am. Here, I finally get to show it to you. Was that kind of similar for you, where this was like one of the first times where I guess maybe you've been playing shows a couple times before this, but like, was this a similar thing in high school? Like you finally got to assert yourself and like finally got to feel the high of being on stage in front of these people and kind of got to prove what you were
Oh
into?
yeah, absolutely. We did it kind of backwards because like the Palladium show that we played, which was a battle of the bands, was our first show ever. So we played Upstairs Palladium as our first show we've ever played.
Interesting.
So, and it was a pretty packed house too. Like, so to go from that, everything else kind of seemed like we were thrown right into it. You know, the high school was a little different because it was all of our friends.
Yeah.
So like everyone knows who you are. They're gonna talk to you about the next day. You know, it's a little different. It's a little more personal in that aspect. But
Yeah, it seems like just a tough one. Where like, again, I think there's something beautiful at playing for strangers, where it's like these people don't know me, and all of a sudden, like playing for friends, especially in that high school mindset of how like self-conscious a high schooler naturally is, like playing for friends seems like it'd be like the worst possible audience, maybe worse or second to playing for like family or close people like that. But it seems like a really tough crowd to try and win over and try and like please in a sense.
yeah, it's really funny because you know, our entire high school class, like a lot of people weren't in that kind of music, but
Yeah.
they still came to the battle of bands and they still like were going nuts. Like
Good
they
for
were like,
them.
this is sick, like no way. And like everyone, you know, never even heard a rock song in their life. They're like, you guys were awesome last night. That was just so cool. Like it was really, really cool. But
That's fun. I
Yeah.
love seeing that. I work with a production company that does a lot of like concerts for colleges. So a lot of them are like DJ rap shows, like the normal kind of college vibe. We did one this year that was headlined by a DJ, and all 3 opening bands were student bands. And they just got progressively heavier and heavier. And it was so funny because like when I'm at the rap shows, like I'm looking at all my like peers and everyone else is like, this is normal. And I'm like, this ain't quite it. And then when the metal bands come on, everyone's looking at me like, yo, what the fuck? And I'm like, dude, this is it. I'm a pig in the mud. This is beautiful. And it was fun because all the students, they were like bought into it and they were like headbanging. It's like they were right in that line of like almost headbanging sarcastically in a way, but it was like they were there. And it was fun to see like the average people kind of buy into our world for a minute and be like,
Yep.
I don't know them, but I'm going to support them. They are my
Right.
friends. Our students here. Let's support them. It sounds like kind of a similar thing.
it's really cool. Yeah. I think it's just because like knowing all those people so close for so long, and then they finally see it. It's just like, wow, this is what they're doing in their spare time. I knew he was in a band, but I didn't know it was like this. Like
Yeah.
to do something I've never even knew existed.
Yeah.
Like that is impressive to us. I think that's what they were probably thinking. But
That's sick. And then the
that's
other
cool.
pearl here before we get out of high school, what is meeting Anthony like? So Anthony was on the show, I don't know, 10, 20 episodes ago. If you're listening and don't know who Anthony is, Anthony's the vocalist of Rose Lane. How did you meet him through that process?
So in Forgotten Screams, our other guitarist Ryan, he knew him. I don't remember how he knew him. I think just
Okay.
through a meeting, through friends. He was like, I have this kid. He played drums, but he's doing vocals now, and you know he's not in a band right now, so he wants to come try out. And that's when we like, crushed "What Is to Burn" by Finch, and like we were like, yeah, Okay.
He's
All
got
right.
it.
We're complete now. Like this is it.
Hell
Like,
yeah. Do you have any first impression of him? And I ask specifically, I had some friends on here, and they described meeting him as like, that was the bad kid in high school, and I was like terrified to meet this guy, and now they're great friends. Do you remember meeting Anthony? Like, what was your initial 16-year-old impression of like, was he immediately like the cool kid? Was he a scary motherfucker that you were terrified to like displease as you were playing Finch together?
No, I think
What
it was
the initial vibe?
very easy. I was very like quiet back then.
Mm-hmm.
Like I really didn't talk much, but like it was pretty easy to talk to Anthony. Like
Yeah.
as most of my friends that were there, he was the only one that didn't go to our school. So like, my other friends made it easier for me, especially since Ryan already knew him. So like, but no, it was very easy and seamless. It actually took a while to like kind of like open up to him and like kind of like get more comfortable. But it was never difficult to talk to him, and
Yeah.
it was very easy transition for sure.
It's fun, yeah, because of course, as I meet him now, he was the most friendly person I've ever. Like, I was very happy chatting with him. But at 16-year-olds, our like perceptions of the world are so skewed.
Right.
It's like, who knows what you thought
Yep.
of this person that like has now proven themselves to be very kind and supportive and outgoing. But yeah, at 16, I'm going back to my friend's example here. It's like they were describing my buddy as a bad kid. It's like I never would be like he's someone I'm scared is going to punch me in the face. Like
Right.
that's just not the person. But our high school brains are a little different. than
People
they are
change
now.
too, yeah.
This is also very fair. Awesome. Okay, so Forgotten Screams is happening here. And then, yeah, I think we have Onward and Spider Fighter next, and Circumstances come later. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so
Yeah.
which one comes next here in this
So
process here?
Onward was next. That
Okay.
was just like a full-on metal band.
Is this also high schoolish, or are we now leaving high
No,
school?
this was like maybe 5-6 years after high school.
Is there a
Probably
lull?
a little more actually. It's probably 7. 6
Is
or
there a
7.
lull then from high school to onward? Like, is there time?
I
to put
definitely had a
music down?
falling out with music for a little bit. I got really into like cars and like building like cars and stuff. Like I had a bunch of imported vehicles and stuff. So
Was this because cars called your name louder, or because music had bittered you for some reason?
I think I just kind of like I met a new group of friends
Mm-hmm.
and kind of like I was like, this is kind of fun. Like this is, I kind of fell out of music. No one was jamming anymore. I was
Yeah.
like, I felt kind of like, I don't know, but it was really cool. Like it was very expensive, but
Yeah.
like I also came back to music too. You know what I mean? Like I eventually came back to music while I was still in the cars, and I was like, now this is really expensive. So I eventually dropped the cars just because, I got to pick something here. Like
Yeah.
I don't make like $1 million a year. I can't be doing this.
It's so
So-
funny music is an expensive hobby. Cars are one of the few hobbies that is far more
Yeah,
expensive.
100%.
And it's funny to come back to music as like the budget option where no one on the show has
Yes.
ever been like, this is so affordable. I love music. It's cheap. Everything's great. My cab didn't cost $1,200. My guitar didn't cost $1,500, whatever. These shows, these recordings, all these pieces didn't cost $1 bajillion. So it's very funny that you found the one thing that made music that seem affordable in contrast.
I know. I just pick all the expensive stuff to take up my life.
You have
you
good
know?
taste, yeah. Also, I'd argue it's better than designer clothes or Supreme shirts or whatever, where it's like, all right, at least like the cars are like a mechanical thing. There's still something happening here. It's not just a consumer item, a luxury item that has no actual value to me.
I mean, it was definitely worth it. Like I still miss it sometimes.
Yeah.
I can work on my own cars like to a degree.
I
You know
can't
what I mean?
at all, and like I feel emasculated by it. Like the fact that I can't change my own oils. Like I'm sure I could go on YouTube and figure it
Yeah.
out, but it's like I don't have this weird thing with like camera as well, where like I don't like how little I understand about how it works. Like this idea that I push a button and it captures light and then saves it in time, and now I go to it's like
Yeah.
what the fuck is happening
There's
here?
no understanding. It's just you're just trusting
I
the
understand
process.
to a degree, but even then, it's like I can tell you how the sensor absorbs light, but then how does the light get saved to this little
Yep.
chip that saves thousands of other pieces of light? And like, what are we talking
It's
about
insane.
here?
It's insane.
And I have the same thing with cars here of like, I don't like that I use this thing every single day, that it is crucial to my life, that my life is now about travel and driving. And I don't fucking know how. I know I push the pedal and the wheels turn, but like,
Yep.
what is going
Yep.
on? So I've always felt like I really should flush that skill set out. And amongst all the other things I'm always trying to learn, like I think I tend to bite off more than I can chew. And that is one of those of like, maybe someday I'll cross that bridge.
there's
But
there's so much to learn though.
don't have,
Like, it's just a rabbit hole. you know?
100%. Yes. So you get into that world. I assume, you're customizing, you're modifying your car, you're doing all the fun, all the fun things there. And then you come back into music. What finally pulls you back into music?
Honestly, it was as easy as seeing another friend from high school post on Facebook, hey, like, we need a bass player. I'm like, that's all they need to be a complete band. Like, this is too easy. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? There's no
Yeah,
effort.
yeah.
Like, I mean, obviously there's effort, but like, I'm the missing piece of this band. And we ended up, recording an album or two, not a full length, but like EPs. But it was really easy. And I met a lot of, I ended up joining a band with the drummer actually from that band Onward. Sorry. Okay. I lied. The drummer wasn't in that band yet.
Okay.
I joined the band, and then I texted Derek, the drummer from my first band, and he was like, let's do it. Like,
Hell
he
yeah.
hadn't played since then. So
Hell yeah. Were you in these like I think it's like 6 or 7 years off? Were you still jamming bass like in your room at all, or was it like completely moved on from this thing?
so I play guitar in between like
Okay.
like my acoustic and like just my electric in my bedroom. Like never anything really heavy. I played more of like the slower stuff, like post-hardcore emo stuff.
Sure.
But
Whatever called your name at the time, but yeah, it wasn't very serious. Sounds like it was just kind of like a once a month kind of dust it off, have a night, have a couple beers, whatever your vibe is for that night.
Play the same 4 chords on my acoustic and have fun with it.
That's about where I'm at with drums right now. I got this E kit maybe I guess 2 years ago or so now, and yeah, I've got one beat that I can play, and I just play it through all my songs, and it's all I
It's
need.
perfect.
Dude.
It works, right?
100%. Yeah, it's enough for me to feel competent and have my little fun and like scratch that itch. But yeah, it's a very familiar place. And so finally, you joined this band. You see the post on Facebook. You go join the band, and this was Onward. You said
That was Onward. Yep.
awesome. Okay, and this was also like post-hardcore-ish, I believe you said.
It was very metalcore.
Okay.
Very metalcore.
And so this is finally getting back into bass, making it happen here.
Yep. Yeah, that's what drove me back in, and then ever since then I've been playing music. So.
Hell yes.
And that was like, I don't know, 2000. I don't even want to put a year on it. I was like 26.
Sure. As we go through all these, I love to look at these early years, and I think one of the fun parts of the early years is all like the dog shit places you've played shows. So at some point you mentioned you're playing shows at 14 years old, and all the way through this onward, if my math is right, you're 25-ish, 23-ish, somewhere in that neighborhood here. I assume at some point here you played a show in a crazy place, and my definition of crazy here, like I guess the recent one is like Bad Burger that everyone's been playing at recently that I would love to go see because I need to go see a Five Guys with a metal show inside of it.
Yeah.
But I guess in other iterations of this, I had some friends here who played a carpet store, which to me is like
Heelys? Is that, or,
I couldn't tell you.
I know.
Somewhere
I know
up
what
north.
you're talking about. We were supposed to play one, but we unfortunately couldn't.
That's
so.
very funny that you
Yeah.
actually know exactly what I'm talking about. But yes, there's those. There's skate parks, of course. There's plenty of houses, plenty of sheds here. Like, do you have any memory of like a subpar venue that you would have played
man.
early in those 10 years?
I want to say Club Marquee was like the place to play when we were kids.
Okay, what is Club
But
Marquee?
it was like the stage was probably as big as this table.
Hell yes.
And like
Hell
the
yes.
capacity, there was a pretty big capacity, but the stage was like you have all this room. Why not make the stage bigger?
Yep.
And that place filled out, but it was on Main Street in Worcester. Like it wasn't as nice as it is now, but it was definitely like we're crammed on the stage. Like this is brutal. Like it makes a news cafe look massive.
That's saying something for sure. Yeah. Damn. Okay. And how often were you playing there?
That was probably the biggest spot. Then we were playing there like a couple times, every couple months. So
That's so funny. Just surviving. Yeah, making it happen. Of course, at that time, did you know it was shit, or is it only shit in hindsight?
it was only shit in hindsight.
That's
And then looking
beautiful.
back, like the guy that would put the shows on, we're like, that guy was pretty sketchy. Like looking back, like
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would love follow-up questions there, but for his sake and for the sake of anonymity, I will let him slide into the night. Bull picked it up after the show, and I'll get to the bottom of what made this guy so sketchy here.
yeah, okay, perfect.
Beautiful. So you're at this point now, you're in onward here. You're moving onward, I guess. I also have, Spider Fighter, and then I think Circumstances here seemed like it was a much more like legit band. Like it seemed like you guys were much more productive and did a lot more of the band things, and it seemed like a much more official venture. Am I like reading this correctly?
Yeah,
Like Onward and Spider Fighter are both like younger, I don't know, entry level version of this, and then what you call it? Yeah, Circumstances was like the first time this thing becomes like a matured adult kind of venture.
We knew what our sound was pretty quick, and Jeff, the guitarist from Onward, actually came through to Spider Fighter, and then Circumstances. So we were together for all 3 bands, and
Interesting.
Right away we were just we're banging songs out pretty quick, and it came together really fast, and it was a really cool sound, like a post-hardcore sound. I don't know if you got a chance to listen, but
I checked it a little bit.
It was good. I sometimes miss it, but I still keep in touch with all the guys. Like
hell yeah. As these bands fall, let me preface this. Like I'm curious about why bands end, and I always want to preface this like I know there's 2 sides to every story, and oftentimes there is some iteration of like this person took money from the band, and like I'm not asking who stole money is always my classic line here, but like as these bands ended, did you like take anything with you? Was there anything that you like left these bands after they ended for one reason or another that you then brought to Circumstances and said, Circumstances, as you then brought to Circumstances and said, okay, I'm not going to make this mistake again? Like what did you learn as these bands like went through their natural life cycle? And again, please don't throw anyone under the bus. If they deserve to be under the bus, then maybe put them there as well.
Not at
all. What did you learn as you went through these adventures?
A lot. Jeff's a super talented guitarist, and like going through the bands, like it was almost like just not being afraid to like go outside of your realm with bass. It's easy to kind of like just fall into the same. I'll just play the root notes. You know what I mean? Like it was more of experimenting as the bands went by, and I actually brought more from those 3 bands to Roseland than I brought from any of the other bands, because obviously going into guitar, it's like you're looking at all these techniques these guys have, and they're all talented. And like I remember he used to play like use this formation and like whatever, but like kind of going back to that, going into like Rose Lane, I should say, like it made it a lot easier for me, for sure, especially like just going into guitar.
So it's mostly like the technical stuff. Like, you're talking about like root notes, and again, I vaguely understand what a root note is, and I kind of know what you're saying here. But it sounds like, it was mostly like playing music stuff. Was there other like lifestyle, like how to be at shows kind of thing? Were there any like other lessons that you took with you? I think I guess what I'm getting at here is that, to me, like the smallest part of a band is the music part, in some bizarre way of like everything about a band is music, right? But there is so much else of like making peace with your bandmates and learning when to put your foot down and be like, no, we cannot play this show, versus, I guess if you guys all want to play that show, I'll play it. I don't like the band, but if you want to play with them, that's great, kind of thing. Were there other like, social lessons, I guess, here that also became valuable?
Absolutely.
Here?
I think the biggest one that I took away from those first few bands was like, I never would really speak up when like something didn't seem right, or like it didn't sound like it flowed good enough. Eventually I found my voice and was like, we can't play that like that. Like it just, we can do better than that, and that's come with me. That's probably one of my biggest, bring to the tables, like things I bring to the table now, what I mean? Like,
it's a fascinating one to me, where like, as I enjoy that I join a new band every month. It's kind of the way that I look at it, whereas I'm working on a music video, like for this month, I am in X band's camp, and the next month I'm in Y band's camp. And this cycle kind of goes on, so that every month I get to see, what does this band do well? What do they not do so great? What if I was in a band, what would I do? And of course, prefaces, I have never been in a band. I don't think that environment is exactly what I want to be in. Like, it's just not quite for me. But I do think I've learned a lot by being a fly on the wall and hearing a lot of these conversations. And of course, people have come on the show, and like some of this is stuff they have said on the show. Some of this is afterwards when they go, listen, I know I said our band is doing great, but actually this guy in the band has been fucking driving us all up the wall kind of conversations that are inevitable here, right? I think in a band is ultimately a relationship, and in any relationship, there's got to be some ups and downs. And like, I think anyone who has a partner goes, listen, I love them 99% of the time, but there's this one thing they do that just fucking drives you up a wall. And I feel like I've been able to benefit by like aggregating all of these and starting to understand of like, what are the pitfalls? What are the things that go good here? And one of the things I've learned about bands is that like every band needs a quarterback. Everyone needs someone who is in charge, and that person has to be like in charge in a way that they have the final say and stuff, and they take the initiative on getting a lot of stuff done, but they can't rule with an iron fist. Like, there has to be some room for everyone else to negotiate with this.
Right.
And the flip side of this is that the other people in the band need to be followers, right? Like, you cannot have 5 quarterbacks in a band because you end up with this cart getting pulled in every different direction. Nothing ever gets done. And it becomes this chase for perfection that is then a useless game, a fruitless game. It sounds like, as you're describing this, like you are a line more like the follower kind of guy. Like, I don't want to put a foot down, but interesting to me, like the follower role, I think, is one that, like, I guess, as I say follower, it has like a negative connotation to it, but it's like, no, you need a role player. You need someone who's going to do the thing. Right. You also need to know that person can put their foot down when it is. And I think that's what I'm hearing you say is like, you learned of like, I want to not rock the boat, but I need to know that when the boat is rocking, that I have the ability to put my foot down and say, hey, no, this ain't right anymore, kind of thing. And that to me is a really valuable like life skill of sorts. Of like, I find myself being very agreeable and trying to just people please at all times. And it's like, I think some part of me might have benefited from being in a band and watching the dictator roll out fist and be like, hey dude, you got to chill right here. Like, it's great that you're our leader. You're still our leader. Check yourself right here. Good balance. Kind of thing. Yeah. Is that still like a role you would identify with, where like you're happy to like kind of go with the flow, but you're now much more confident, like, asserting yourself when need be and redirecting things when need be? Oh,
for sure. Absolutely.
Interesting. Yeah. I think, I don't know. It's just fascinating to just like, as I work with bands at all levels, to me, it's like I spend time. I'm not sure if I should ever name drop them or not, but I spent time with a band who's been very successful, and they're all like 45-year-old men who've had Grammys and multi-platinum awards and all the crazy shit. And spending time with them was this beautiful like reminder of like, oh, they're the same as every other band I've ever been with. Like, every band has these 5 people in it, and there's one goofball, there's one guy who's completely on his own page, there's one guy who's the leader here, there's a couple people in between. Like, these traits are in every single band, and it was kind of beautiful to be like, oh, even at 45 and having seen the world and made all the money in the world, it's still the same fucking 5 guys. They're still the same 16-year-olds that I'm so familiar with from all these local shows or whatever. And like, somehow appreciating that from a bird's eye view of like how universal these band roles are and how universal bands are has made it like a familiar thing where everyone now feels a lot more relatable and comfortable instead of being scary and intimidating to me. I assume through some of these roles, and you also got to meet some heroes, whereas you're starting to play shows here, you're starting to get into these bands, you start to open for bands. We're talking about like Stick to Your Guns earlier, and like It sounds like you haven't played with them before, but like, did you get the chance to meet some people that you looked up to? Like, did this like affect your role in music? As you start to get into the scene, like, does your perception of music change as you start to get into like some of these big rooms and playing the Palladium upstairs and seeing how the sausage is made more?
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I think it's just like a matter of like getting out there and giving it your best. I mean, you always want to put on a good show.
Yeah.
And like, I personally haven't met anybody that's like, so to speak, like that's been like life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
Like I try and like talk to everybody.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's pretty much just taking it all in. I don't know.
As you've been through all these bands, are there common mistakes you see bands making? Like if you were to give another band advice, if you were, when you're at the Palladium now and you see 10 bands go on, like, is there one thing that sticks out to you as like, please don't ever do that. I wish everyone would know not to ever do this thing again. Yeah.
Don't show up like 2 hours after like load in, or, you know, leave right after your set.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a lot of little things that people you don't think people pick up on, but they do.
It's so funny to me. And I've taken this internally of like with my music video stuff of like, I would like to believe I can make the best music video in the world. Factually, I know that's probably not true. There's going to be someone else who's better than me with a camera who can do this thing better. I'm positive I can be more on time than most people. I'm positive I can communicate better than most people. And I think that those skills have probably gotten me further than my camera could. I would like to believe that people hire me because my camera can do magic. And like, I don't know if that's true. I don't know if I believe that to be true. And like, to some degree, it doesn't fucking matter. I think I would argue that I've gotten in more rooms by being punctual, by being like present and communicating and being sober when I show up. And it's like these basic foundations of like, you'd think that the best band on stage, or the band who gets most opportunities on stage, is the one who plays the best show. And it's like, no, it's the one who the promoter said be here at 1 and was there at 1. Like that will get you a lot farther than most things when you're talking to the Palladium. We're talking about like getting on that stage frequently. It's like if 16-year-old you got bombed and fought someone, it's like Roseland probably doesn't get the invite now. And it's been 10 years since then, whatever. But these things do matter and they do add up over time. And those little things are so important.
I think the biggest thing is just like building relationships with the other bands. You know what I mean? Like, don't be a dick to other bands, because I mean, what does that say about you? Like, come prepared. You know, don't ask, you know, one of the other bands for like 3 of their cables and like a tuner. Like, it's just come prepared. Like, but yeah, just build relationships. Like, don't you're not better than everybody else. Like, we're all here to do the same thing. Like, you know,
100%.
Just treat her with respect.
Yes. Yeah. Which should be simpler than it sounds. It seems like it should be pretty rudimentary. And the more I'm around shows, it's like, oh yeah, turns out basic respect is a hard thing to find at times, especially in this world where like everyone wants to be a rock star, and to some degree, everyone deserves their 30 minutes to get to go be a rock star. But most of the day isn't those 30 minutes of being, or 25 minutes of being on stage. Most of the day is working with the staff, and it's like they're going to dictate your fate a lot more than the people in the audience will, because the people in the audience are the ones who booked you today.
Right.
Beautiful. So then Circumstances goes on here. This wraps up. I looked like it was like ends up like 2020. I assume pandemic-ish is what kind of puts the bow tie on this thing. Is that about accurate?
Towards the end of 2020 was when that came. Yeah.
Was that mostly pandemic stresses that like just forces everyone to kind of revisit, and it was kind of trailing off, and that becomes the final?
Sorry, I had my dates wrong. So Roseland, I've been in Roseland for a little over 2 years, like about 2 years now.
Okay.
And Circumstances broke up pretty close to the beginning of that.
Gotcha. Okay.
You know, one of our bandmates had personal things going on.
Sure.
It just seemed like we were having a hard time like motivating anymore after like COVID and everything. And I had Roseland going on the side, so it was like we're all just kind of like agreed to like it's probably just our time. To move on from this. You know.
Yep. That's a wise choice to make, where I think the instinct is to drag it out and be like, I don't want to let go. And it's like, sometimes you just got it. Sometimes like this thing is going to get nasty if we don't let go right now. And this whole process will become a bitter memory instead of a fond thing we can look back and be nostalgic about.
At least the music's out there to like listen to whenever you're feeling sentimental. Like if we had done that for that long and not anything out there, I've been like, we gotta at least record something so I can like listen to it sometimes, you know?
100%. Yeah. Yeah. As you look back at this, is there a peak of Circumstance that stands out to you? Is there a moment from that band that really stands out as like, that was the high watermark? That was the part that I'll cherish with me as you go on?
I think finishing up the first EP that we recorded, the 7th song, I'm still proud of that to this day. And it came together so quickly and easily that like, that was the most songs I've ever recorded on a single record. So like that was definitely a milestone.
What's it called? Sure. Where can people find it? Is it still
it's on
streaming?
Spotify. It's on. It's called Remorse Code.
Remorse Code. Hell yes. Cool. I'll go check it out. That is my homework for this afternoon.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then Roseland finally starts. We're back approaching present day here. So how do you get the foot called to Roseland? I think you mentioned that Anthony is the one who pulls you into this.
Yep.
Beautiful. How do you get the call? What is that first moment of joining Roseland like?
It was really cool. It was definitely nerve wracking because clearly I'm picking up a 7th string and I'm like, there's an extra string on my guitar, guys.
Yep.
Like, but it came really easy. They had like maybe half a song ready to go, and we finished up that song within the first 2 practices. It all came together really quick. I fell in love with it personally. It was exactly what I needed at the time, especially with circumstances coming to coming to a close. I had to get my expressions out somehow.
Yes.
Or my emotions out somehow. So it worked out pretty well. The first EP came together pretty quick too. After all that came together. So
are the other bandmates in Roseland familiar too? Like, I obviously mentioned that Anthony was a longtime friend of yours. Are the other guys also familiar? I think you mentioned the drummer maybe was someone who's pre-existing.
No, that was Derek from previous bands. But everyone else before that, I had just met while Anthony was in the band. I wasn't in the band yet, but I had hung out with Zach a couple times before that.
I'm always curious about joining a band where it seems like you have to acclimate to a culture, which seems like this fine balance of like, you want to come in and be Brian, right? Like they didn't bring you in because you're an anonymous nobody. They brought you in because they said, hey, we think this guy can add value to us. The flip side is if you come in and immediately go, this is my band now, then you're fucking up the balance here. What was that like onboarding process like? Was it immediately like it just became comfortable? Was there a process of like sitting in the back seat until you felt like you got to jump into the front seat of the car kind of thing?
No, it was pretty quick to like I was writing like songs very quick, and we were learning them within the first couple of practices together,
Yeah.
So Against the Current came pretty fast.
Yep.
So.
And then of course there's the first music, I believe the first music video, or it is a music video, and I'm double checking if it's the first one.
Yep, that was the first song. Well, actually, State of Mind was the first song we wrote together. That one came together really fast with our other guitarist Aaron at the time.
Are you guys like self-recording, self-producing this, or you guys writing it together and then going to produce somewhere else?
We write it all ourselves, and then we go to produce it with Chris Curran.
Cool.
With Reclaim.
Awesome. Okay.
Yep.
That's the other part of this that I think is always fascinating of like, when do you take in the outside help kind of conversation here? And some bands go to the studio and go, okay, let's write a song. And it sounds like you guys are much more of like, no, we're going to go to the studio with a song to be done.
Yeah, we try and go with a pretty finalized piece, and then we'll make adjustments there if we get an idea, or like if Chris has like an idea to throw out there, we're always open to like changing things.
Do you remember the first show then with Roseland, where it sounds to me like you would have been on like a fascinating crossroads of like, you took a hiatus, then you get back into music and you're kind of going full steam ahead with it. And then as circumstances fades, it seems to me like there would have been some like self-doubt that creeps in of like, oh, I really loved this thing and now this thing is gone. And now you're starting with a new relationship. And again, there's like of course the parallel here to like romantic relationships of like, well, you end the bad one and then the new one starts, and it's like, well, I'm excited for the new one to start, but I'm scared that I'm just starting the same thing that ended with this bad circumstance here. Like, what was that first show with Roseland like? Was it hard to buy into it? Yeah. What is that first show like?
No, it was our first show was at Sammy's Patio, and it was a really great experience. I was obviously very nervous because I have a pedal board now, like all these pedals. All I had before was a tuner. Yep. I gotta switch this then. Like, but no, it was very easy. After that first show, it was like not like I was unfazed. Like it was perfect. It was great.
That's beautiful.
And it's just getting better,
Did anything go wrong at that first show?
No, I mean I think we played every single song way too fast, but it's bound to happen when we don't have any songs recorded yet besides one. So
that'll do. I assume then there's no click. You guys just like playing to the drummer.
We're just playing. Yeah.
That'll happen. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That'll certainly happen. That sounds
we
all part
had
of the
like a 15-minute set. Luckily, we were playing pretty early in the night, but But we've learned like, hey, if we want to play at a different tempo, let's go a little bit slower. But we have recordings to go off of now, so it's much easier to get that for sure.
You've got experience under your belt where you're not as nervous on the first set. And there's not the instinct then to push the tempo and kind of keep going here.
Yeah.
Beautiful. And then it sounds like, Roseland has been a very successful experience where it's been fun to watch you guys grow. And I don't think I saw you guys once with the Dreamwake show.
At the Palladium,
The Palladium.
The holiday show.
Yes, right? Yes. And I hope to do it again. But it sounds like there's been a lot of successes here. And Anthony seemed very fond of it as well. Like, what would you say has been like successful with Roseland? Like, what has been a high watermark? What has been something that you like still celebrate as like a, damn, we really did it that day? What like made you feel actualized?
What was it? It was the Windwalker show at the Palladium that we played. Yeah. That show, there was something about it. It just felt different. Like we went out there, everyone was so receptive of us. Like we don't sound anything like Windwalkers.
Yeah.
And we had people come up to us all night, like what was that? Like I haven't heard anything like that for years. Like, and it was very heartwarming to know that like people are open to that when they come for something completely different.
That's beautiful. Yeah. I'm really bad at accepting praise. So
I am too. It was difficult for most of the night.
Yeah. So talk to me about that then. As you're at I assume the merch table, as you're roaming around the
Yep.
venue kind of thing, like as people come up to, when people come up to me and they say nice things, there's always some part of my brain of like, oh, you just must not know. Like you must not have paid enough attention. If you think it was that good, you must have missed these other things that my brain is still held up on.
Yep.
And of course, as the creators, for me, in the music video context for you on stage, it's like there are things that you are aware of that no one else in the room was ever aware of, but they scream at your soul. They scream into your soul. And they scream this void inside of you of like, fuck, you don't realize that I missed this note. You don't realize that we were off
Right.
time, that the song was too fast. All these things that don't resonate. So when someone comes to me and says nice things, I almost go like, fuck, if only you knew. You would not say this thing if you knew the whole truth kind of thing.
Yeah.
What is your way of handling this? Like when someone comes up to you and says, great shit, I was so happy to see you, that was awesome, whatever the thing is, like, are you able to accept it as praise? Does your brain, are you cynical as I am? Like,
Yeah,
what is the gut reaction there?
everyone has like bad shows, and like
Yeah.
it could be from a reason that no one even notices.
Yeah.
And it happens all the time when someone comes up to you and they're like, "That you guys killed it, like that was a 6 set," and I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, oh, man, like I don't know, but you just gotta like put on a happy face and just go through it, because they're not even gonna know that you had a bad show until you tell them you do. You know, so
I think I've also tried to get better at like, I have to accept the praise. Like I owe it to myself to accept the praise. Like I'm doing myself a disservice by trying to like argue with them about why they did or did not think it was good. Of like, I'm only hurting myself in this process.
Right.
And like to some degree, my life would be better if I could just smell the roses to that capacity. I think there's also a fear that I have of like, I need to be getting better at all times, and I can't be getting better if I think that there is a good enough happening here, which of course then is detrimental, right? Like if I think I can only grow by not feeling good enough, then I'm fucking myself by feeling not good enough on purpose at all times. So
Right.
there has to be a moment of gratitude in there, but I don't want to get complacent. And gratitude to me is almost a place of complacency of like, if I hear the good thing, go, yeah, I did fucking crush that set, or I did kill that video, or whatever the thing is.
All right.
Then it feels like a scary place of me going like, oh, am I going to stop getting better here? Is there any balance here for you of then like, yeah, trying to smell the rose and trying to make sure you're hearing the praise and feeling the praise, but also I assume we're all artists. We all want to be getting better. I assume there's a version of you that goes, fuck, if I can only play this faster, I can only learn the sweep technique, whatever the guitar challenge is. Like, is there any challenge for you of then trying to smell the roses and not get sucked into only smelling the roses kind of thing?
No, it's pretty easy to not get swept up by that. Every time I make a mistake on stage, I literally go home and figure out a way to not make that same mistake again. I beat myself up over it pretty hard.
Yeah.
And I'm also kind of a perfectionist in a way, so it's all about just dialing it in and finding a different way to play it. If you have to, or maybe having Sean might be better at playing that than I am, so maybe we just swap parts for that part.
Has that
There's
happened?
always a way.
Do you guys like swap parts often? Is that like a common
It's not
solution?
often. It maybe like once or twice we've done it for sure.
Interesting.
You guys stretch your fingers than I do, so like
He's got the dexterity that you
yeah.
have. That's the skateboarder in you. That's a fascinating
Yeah.
way of like you go home and I get my mental image here is you go home after the show and it's 4 a.m. You're still playing the same riff in the song. Like I'm never gonna fuck that riff up again.
Right.
Is the same version as the 10-year-old version of you who's learning the 50-50 on the little 6-inch rail in the street or
Right.
some like very modest trick that you were like, I'm never gonna mess it up again. I'm never gonna not land that 50-50 again. And it's to me the same mental faculty, same mental ability that is locked into this and determined to like make yourself good again.
I think the hardest part is knowing that like when you don't play to like your standards, like you're letting everyone in the band down, not just yourself. That's the way I look at it, just to kind of put a little pressure on myself to get better.
Yeah. Which
And
is very different than skateboarding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And skateboarding, you're just doing your own tricks. You're not doing someone else's tricks. If you're playing a game of skate, it's a little different.
Sure.
But, yeah.
What does practice look like for you now? Like, are you meticulous about it? Is this like are you super regimented where you're like every day you're sitting out for 2 hours with your metronome and your click and making sure that everything is perfect? Is it like a more organic, enjoyable process? What does practice look like for you now?
So I just recently got Logic Pro at home. So like I've been doing a lot of like recording at home. Our new process is we typically try and write like a foundation for a song, like a structure, and then we'll just add into it after that and like change something as we go. But like as long as that foundation is there, we'll just pretty much just work on one part and then get to the next one, and then when we feel like we're ready to get in the studio, we'll just go in the studio, and then even then we'll make more changes. It's just there's always more to be added after like kind of like I love our first EP, but I still go back and I'm like, I could have added this here. I could have added that here. So like now that Sean's in the band, we can do that a little bit easier, because before it was kind of like, I wrote this, let's just go in and record it, you know? So it's cool to have another another person in it.
Yes, that is one part of music videos that I love is like because I have a deadline, I can't tinker forever. And I think with songs, there's this weird thing of like, well, you wrote the song 3 years ago, but you're still playing it on stage today. So there is this desire to go back and continue to tinker. And like, if I had to perform the music video that I made 3 years ago today, like it would torment me. I would still be like obsessing over all these little details that are not significant, that no one else cares about, that don't affect at all the consumer's consumption of this product. But they would keep me up at night. Yep. And I think that, there's a fascinating balance there. Like you're forced to put out the EP, but you're also forced to live in the EP for the next couple of years as this thing happens. Yep. Do you find yourself learning like songs for fun anymore? Like as we talked about practice, you immediately went to I record, I make new stuff, which to me is like this effort of moving forward. And I wonder if there's like a part of you that goes like, no, I just want to play guitar. I just want to learn the new Spirit Box song or whatever band.
I'll learn like a riff here or there.
Yeah.
I don't typically learn like full songs, but like if I hear a riff that I like, I'll like, oh, well, check that one out and play it, But most of my time is just trying to spend writing our own stuff. If I hear a riff that sounds sick from another band, I'll kind of learn it just to get a different technique and kind of like get ideas from it.
That's exactly
if you get stuck in your own ways, you're not going to branch out and learn anything new. So
that's exactly where I'm at. Where I find myself trying. I mentioned this earlier. I find myself trying to watch movies because like I need ideas to come from somewhere, but I just don't like doing it that much. And so I've settled on like reading as a way of like. I don't like reading that much, but at least I'm not on screens. Like at least it's a different part of my brain that I'm working. It still forces me to envision and imagine things that then become ideas. Mm-hmm. I've also started using AI in this way, where like when someone comes to me, the example that always comes to my mind first is that I was doing a video for a band called Skin Crawl, and they wanted to be in like a geometric white city. And that to me is like, I understand what those words mean, but I don't know what that fucking looks like. That doesn't give me anything. And I
can't picture it.
I understand the idea of like, we want it to be, geometric shapes. We want squares and triangles and we want it to be a city. So we want a bunch of them. We want it to be white, but it's like, what the fuck is a geometric white city? And it was this fun problem to me. And then, this is where I've found like a use of AI that I really like. Because when someone comes to me and says something like that, I go, okay, geometric white city, and then 100 options pop up, and I go, option 70. Okay, that's a good starting base. Let's save that one. Let's continue to tinker with it and add more buildings or less buildings or whatever, more verticality. Yeah. And it's become an interesting way for me to find new ideas without having to like consume stuff that I'm then emulating. I think that's always a fear of like learning a new riff, or for me watching a movie or music video. It's like I don't want to just regurgitate this thing. I want to make sure that what I'm putting out is me. But that has to come from somewhere. I can't just shit out new ideas. There has to be some inspiration and some foundation for this idea.
Exactly, yeah.
Interesting, yeah. So it sounds like then for you, it's a similar process of, trying to find a riff, but not spending too much time in that riff and finding just enough for you to go and record and write the new thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Beautiful. Yep. Roseland's here. High watermarks of Roseland, I believe we talked about here. Yes. Sick. My last question here for you then, or whatever, a couple last questions here for you, is what keeps you motivated? So as you're in Roseland, as you've like been through these bands, like at this point in life, I think it's very easy. I think we see a lot of our peers start to like hang it up. And that to me is a very sad thing of like, oh, the child inside you died. Like there is some like hope and dream that died here. What keeps you motivated with Roseland? Where like things are going well, they are growing. What motivates you to continue that growth, to continue to see the progress here?
So it's funny because when Circumstances was coming to a close, it was kind of discouraging because we kind of stopped writing, it was slowing down. But then I jumped into Rose Lane, and all it took was like 2 or 3 shows, and it was just the motivation just came within itself, just from playing.
Yeah.
And just like new music coming out, like listening to new music, like it doesn't have to be like necessarily metal, but like I'll listen to like pop punk and like try and incorporate different transitions into our music from like something like that,
Yeah. Is it still home for you? I think at the start of this, we talked about like how like punk and ska were kind of like your original home. Is that still in the mix at all, or have you kind of
a little bit?
Yeah.
If it comes on my like playlist, I won't. But it's very rare I'll go and like search for that now.
Yeah.
But when it comes up, I won't skip it.
Hell yeah. Hell yes. Last couple questions for you here. One, what's something you're currently learning? So the show From Everyone came with this idea of learning something from everyone here, and I like this idea that like I always thought that people were finished products of themselves, and I guess and as I got into the show, as I got into chatting with people that I look up to who have succeeded more than I could ever dream to, I realized that everyone is still in progress, that there is no person who has like actualized their goal, that even the person on the top of the universe, and I would assume this goes all the way up to the Taylor Swifts, Bring Me the Horizons, whatever of the universe, is like they're still going, fuck, what if I was 1% better? What if I could just make this one thing better?
Yeah.
What's something that you're currently learning? What are you currently working on improving? What is something that is like, still on YouTube University, or still trying to figure out, I guess with Logic in the mix, I can probably guess where you're going here. But what's something you're currently learning?
Like it's Logic is a lot to learn.
Yeah.
So like that's been a big turning point for us, especially. We're building a studio at the band space currently.
Oh,
Like
hell
I brought
yeah.
a desk in there. I got to get some gear and get it in there so we can start tracking at practice.
Hell yes.
My space isn't big at home, so I can't have everyone there. So, kind of learning just the DAW and like all of that has been what I've been doing lately to learn,
Yep.
and that's kind of making me a better guitarist in the process because, you got to play tight. You can't just edit everything. But
Have you gotten into recording other people at all?
nope.
Okay.
No, I've only recorded one song so far on my own, and I got like a few other projects there on my own. But
Gotcha. Is anyone else in the band recording, or have you become like the leader on that front of things?
I've become the kind of like the pioneer for that for now.
Interesting.
I think a couple of the guys are gonna look into getting Logic just so
Yeah.
we can like send ideas back and forth and make it easier.
Mm-hmm.
We just needed one person to do it first so that we could follow suit. But
Interesting.
yeah.
It sounded like early in your bands you were happy to let other people kind of lead the ship here, and you were happy to, yes, put your foot down where you needed to be, but happy to not have the pressure of being the pioneer here. It sounds like now there's a shift here where you're like, no, I want to be the pioneer. I want to figure this out. Like, I want to make this happen.
Yeah, I think like being in bands that slowed down,
Yeah.
and kind of just stopped in general has been that reason to kind of, once you reach too low of a low, it's hard to get back up there. So it's important to keep that momentum no matter how little it might be.
I can't agree with you more that I think it's important to keep trying. And I think so many bands like wait for the perfect moment, and it's like, it's not coming. Your job is every single day. And I think of my friends in Chain Twist here, my buddy Ryan, who I know listens to the show, shout out Ryan. Like, he took it on himself to post on TikTok every single day. And they have seen enormous dividends from that, of like thousands of new followers coming in. It's like, I don't know if that changes their entire life. I do know it's a huge sign of progress and growth. And it's like, it just took someone to step up and be like, I'm gonna fucking do this. And I'm gonna do this every goddamn day. And it's gonna work because I'm gonna do it every day. And I think that, yeah, going to go back to the skateboarding thing again, bring it full circle here. It's like, that is the mindset here. That is where everything comes from. And once you start to go like, someone else will do it, it's like, no one else is going to land the kickflip. There is just simply no one else who can land a kickflip for you. That is not an option here.
And a lot of people, like, they kind of like follow your energy. Like, they kind of like feed off your energy. And I'm that kind of person as well, especially on stage and like in the band space. Like, if someone else is like isn't feeling well and not into it, I'm not going to be as into it. You know what I mean? Like, and that goes for everyone else too. So.
That is what I've learned as an adult is my number one characteristic of the people around me, of my friends in my life, is like, I need to believe that you're committed and pursuing whatever you're doing. And I don't care what that thing is. I don't care if I don't care. It doesn't matter to me what you are pursuing. I need to know that you have fucking 100% of you involved in this thing, and that you are willing to embarrass yourself, that you're willing to take a chance, that you're willing to fail for this thing to work because you believe in this thing. And I don't care what that thing is you're pursuing, but it's very hard for me to relate to you if you don't have that desire to chase this thing. And again, it could be underwater basket weaving. Like I don't care. Do whatever is the thing, but be into that thing. And without that, to me, I think it's I don't know. And I think as Brian Garris from Knocked Loose had this thing of like as they have now toured the entire world. He goes like, you'd be shocked how many of these venue guys are metalheads, because the rappers got into this to be cool. The other music people got into this to be cool. They got into it for different reasons. The metal kids were all like black sheep who got into this like, no, I love this and I'm going to fucking figure this out. And now those people own all the venues around the world. They're the head of all the security teams. And it was kind of fascinating of like, yeah, as someone who has seen the world and done it all, he'd be like, you'd be shocked how many of these people come from our little 5% of the music scene just because of what it takes to succeed in this, and how niche and how, odd of a movement it can be from the exterior here.
Absolutely.
And it was, kind of a beautiful reminder of like, my friends are cool people. And some of them will become Brian Garris, some of them may not, but like they will succeed in other parts of their life because of this. And because you skateboard, because you were willing to land that kickflip, it's like wherever you go, it's going to work out. And you could have been a doctor, and like that same energy to land the kickflip would have gotten you through medical school.
I'd rather see the effort and fail than not try at all, you know?
That's the only way to be. Beautiful. As we wrap up here, last question for you. Interest outside of music. So we talked about this before the podcast, and I would challenge you not to answer the way that the other folks here answered. But life outside of music. So we talked a lot about here. Skating, I guess, was one part of this that sounds to me like it was in the past, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's still present. But it sounds like, at this point, it's a lot of guitar. Hopefully at some point it'll be bass again. Is there anything outside of this? Are you a fisherman? Are you a runner? Are you a hiker? Like, what else in life makes you happy? What are you doing outside of music now?
Not a fisherman or anything like that, but I just recently got a one wheel, so I've been riding that a lot.
Hell yes. Okay.
That skateboarding,
sure,
a part of my life still haunts me, so I got to get back out there. But it's super fun. Like, other than that, it's really just the music. I'm really not doing too much. If I'm at home, on a rainy day, I'm usually like trying to track or learn more on Logic right now. It really depends on like the time like at that moment in my life.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like if a new video game comes out, I'll grind that for a couple days. You know.
What's the game recently? What's the one?
They're remastering Gears of War again, so
Okay.
I'm back on Ultimate Edition for now.
Sucked back into the dark realm for the moment.
Yeah.
Hell yes, my man. We Don't Did It, episode 100 with Brian Lindberg. Brian, I guess, yeah, show's coming up here so people who are listening know. Roseland has a new single, The Hate You Speak, streaming video out everywhere now. Go listen to Roseland everywhere you find music. City Sound Studios in New York, fuck saying that name again. Ralph's Rock Diner in Worcester, Massachusetts, September 5th. And New England Metal Hardcore Fest pre-party Palladium. I believe you guys have tickets for that as well.
Yes, we do.
Beautiful.
Yep.
So contact Roseland for tickets. I should have said that up front, so I apologize for that. Anything else we should know about Roseland? Anything else? Yeah, go listen to streaming stuff. Anything else Roseland that we want to plug here and promote and make sure people are aware of?
No, you nailed all the shows. We don't have any music coming out right this second, but we're going to be in the studio pretty soon.
Sick.
With this new track we're working on. So
beautiful. And then where can people find you online? Where's the best place to follow you? Where can they say you did great today? Where can they keep up with you at Roseland?
Instagram, Spotify, Facebook, all
Sick.
those things. We do have a YouTube up. We've got some live videos up there, and we have the instrumental of The Hate You Speak out there too, which not a lot of people know about. So
Fire. Yeah. Go check it out. Go listen to it. We Don't Did It, Brian. Thank you. Episode 100 from everyone. Leave a like, leave a comment. I hate asking for those things, but it does help. Helps other people find the show. Helps me know that you enjoy it. Helps Brian know that he had a great day today. Beautiful. We Don't Did It. This will be out in a couple days. I guess I don't need to know that. Awesome.
Perfect.
My man, have a great life. We Don't Did It.